Hi everyone, my name is Veronica and I'm going to be talking to you about the different types of muscles in the body. There are three main types of muscles. There's skeletal muscle, cardiac muscle, and smooth muscle. So we can see right over here. And we're going to be going one by one, seeing how they are alike, how they are different, and their functions in the body. So the skeletal muscle are those that attach to the bones and have the main function of contracting to facilitate movement of our skeletons. They are also sometimes known as striated muscles due to their appearance. The thing that causes this stripy appearance are the bands of actin and myosin that will form the sarcomeres around which within the myofibrils. So here are the myofibrils, here's the sarcomere, and the actin and myosin in them. The skeletal muscles are also sometimes called voluntary muscles because we have direct control over them through the nervous impulses from our brain sending messages to the muscle. Skeletal muscles also have the ability to stretch or contract and still return to the original shape. Now for the smooth muscle, they're unlike the skeletal muscles, which are voluntary, these are involuntary muscles due to our inability to control the movements. They are also unstriated, as it does not have the stripy appearance of the skeletal muscle. Smooth muscles are found in the walls of hollow organs such as the stomach, the esophagus, the bronchi, and the walls of the blood vessels. And this muscle type is stimulated by involuntary neurogenic impulses and have slow rhythmical contractions used in the controlling of internal organs, like, for example, when moving food along the esophagus or contracting blood vessels to the vasoconstrictions. You can see here how they have a smooth appearance. And lastly, the cardiac muscle are the ones that, yes, are found in the heart, more specifically in the walls of the heart, and it has similarities with the skeletal muscles in that it's striated, and it is also similar to the smooth muscles in which the contractions are involuntary. However, this type of muscle is highly specialized. It is under the control of the autonomic nervous system, and without a nervous input contractions, it can occur due to cell called pacemaker cells. Those pacemaker cells are the ones responsible for the involuntary control. Cardiac muscle is highly resistant to fatigue due to the presence of a large number of mitochondria, myoglobin, and a good blood supply, allowing continuous aerobic metabolism. It keeps the heart pumping. So this is a short review on what we just learned.
Armando Hasurigan, biology and medicine videos. Please make appreciate it. You can also change the quality settings to the highest one for better graphics. In this video, we're going to look at an introduction to the muscular system. Our muscular system, obviously, is our muscles, and muscles are important in keeping the homeostatic conditions of our body. It's particularly important for us when we breathe, and also for movement, such as lifting weights, for example, or lifting anything. It's also important because it gives us heat and provides us with balance and also stabilizing our joints. Now, there are three types of muscles. There is the skeletal muscle, cardiac muscle, and smooth muscle. We'll begin with looking at skeletal muscle just briefly. Now, skeletal muscle is essentially the muscle which we require when we move and when we lift things up. Skeletal muscle differs to the other type of muscles because they usually connect to the ends of bones, such as the thigh bone, for example. And they're voluntary and also striated. They're voluntary because when we move our arms, we are voluntarily moving them. And so, for example, skeletal muscles are the muscles such as our bicep muscles, our pectoralis major, and our quadriceps, for example. And so if we zoom into this particular skeletal muscle, a skeletal muscle cell is cylindrical shape, and as I mentioned, they're also striated. But another important feature of a skeletal muscle is that it is multinucleated, which means that it consists of multiple nucleuses. And this is what differs skeletal muscle to, for example, cardiac muscle, and the other one, the smooth muscle. So the second type of muscle I would like to look at is the cardiac muscle. And the cardiac muscle essentially implies the heart, because cardiac implies heart. And so we're looking at the heart muscles, such as this area here. Cardiac muscles are amazing because they keep contracting until the day we die to pump blood around our body. Cardiac muscles are involuntary, meaning that we have no conscious over it, and so that is why we have no conscious over our beating heart. And cardiac muscles are also actually striated, like skeletal muscles. So if we zoom into the cardiac muscles in this heart, for example, we can see a few cardiac muscle cells here. Cardiac muscle cells are either uninucleated or binucleated, in that they have one or two nucleuses per cell. And each muscle cell are separated by what's called intercalated discs, which help combine each cardiac muscle cell, as well as assisting in transmitting nerve impulses throughout the heart during contraction. The last type of muscle we're going to look at is the smooth muscles. And smooth muscles are found in the stomach and in the intestines, essentially the gastrointestinal tract, or GIT. And they usually wrap around each of these organs to assist in the movement of food down the gastrointestinal tract, from our mouth to our anus, essentially. And this movement of food down this gastrointestinal tract is known as peristalsis, and this is assisted by the smooth muscle cells. And so as expected, smooth muscle cells are involuntary in that we have no conscious control over it. And what differs smooth muscle cells to cardiac and skeletal muscle is that they are unstriated. They contain no striations whatsoever. And so if we zoom into this part of the stomach, duodenum, part of the small intestines, we can look at the smooth muscles, and you can see that they're unstriated. They contain no striations, and each cell is also uninucleated in that it contains only one nucleus. And so, for example, this group of smooth muscle cells, they are in a relaxed position. And when they contract, what essentially happens is that they squeeze together. And when they squeeze together, this is what allows the movement of food down our gastrointestinal tract. And so that was a brief overview about the three types of muscles and the muscular system.
So there you go. Do you think you have it all down? Do you think you're ready to test your knowledge? So let's find out. This short little quiz. First question. What two things cause cross-radiation in skeletal muscle? 2. Where is the cardiac muscle located? And 3. What muscle doesn't contain striation and is involuntary? I'm going to give you a little minute to plot down your answers, and we'll discuss it. Okay, so let's get going. The answers are 1. Actin and myosin, 2. The walls of the heart, and 3. Smooth muscle. So to conclude, we're going to recap on the 3 types of muscle in the body. Smooth muscle is not does not contain striation, and it occurs usually in the walls of internal organs, and it is involuntary. The cardiac muscle has striation. It occurs in the walls of the heart, and it is involuntary. And finally, the skeletal muscle has striation. It's usually attached to the skeleton, and it is voluntary. So thank you for listening to my presentation, and I hope that this helped. Good luck, and thank you.